Welcome, the anointed ones. They tried to bury you, but they didn't realize you were a seed. Here's the thing. Nobody saw you coming. Not the doubters, not the critics, not even some of the people cheering for you. And that's the beauty of it. When the world expects you to stumble, the moment you rise feels like a plot twist they'll never recover from. Here's a fact to chew on. History is riddled with examples of unpredictable victors. Alexander Graham Bell created the telephone while trying to improve communication for the deaf. J.K. Rowling was rejected 12 times before anyone believed a boy wizard could sell books. And you're about to add your name to this list of people who turned doubt into an art form. But let's not pretend this was ever an easy road. It wasn't handed to you on a silver platter. It was more like they tossed you a fork and said, "Good luck finding dinner." Yet here you are, winning in ways they still can't figure out. So sit back, enjoy the show, and let's unravel the story of why the chosen ones, people like you, are winning precisely because nobody saw it coming. At number 1, you were hidden in plain sight. They never saw you coming because you were hidden in plain sight. You didn't fit the image of what they thought a winner looked like. You weren't loud about your goals. You didn't chase the spotlight or beg for approval. While they focused on those who talked the loudest or showed off the most, you quietly built something they didn't even realize they should fear. They underestimated you because you didn't wear your potential on your sleeve. That was your power. People expect greatness to announce itself, to be obvious, flashy, or neatly packaged, but you were the opposite. You blended into the background, staying just enough under the radar to make them believe you weren't a threat. They misjudged you, and now their disbelief is part of your victory. While they wasted time watching others, you were preparing to outpace them all. The irony? You didn't hide anything. You were always there, quietly doing the work while they ignored you. It wasn't luck, and it wasn't coincidence. You knew how to play the long game, and you were willing to let them think they were ahead. They were so focused on their own noise that they missed the quiet power you were cultivating. Now the tables have turned, and the shock in their eyes is priceless. They didn't see you as a contender, and that's what makes your rise impossible to ignore. Their expectations blinded them, but your actions speak louder than anything they assumed. Your success wasn't a fluke. It was strategy, patience, and relentless effort. And now, as you stand in the spotlight they thought you'd never touch, they're left wondering how they missed the person who was winning all along. Number 2, your struggle wasn't your weakness, it was your blueprint. Your struggle was never a weakness, it was your blueprint. Every hardship, every rejection, and every obstacle that should have broken you instead taught you how to bend without snapping. You weren't handed the easy path. Others may have had shortcuts or privileges, but you had something far more valuable: the ability to adapt, endure, and create opportunities where none existed. While they built their success on shaky foundations, yours is rooted in resilience they can't fake or replicate. They thought the struggle would define you in a negative way. They expected it to wear you down, to turn you bitter, or make you give up. But what they didn't see is how each setback was shaping you into someone they couldn't compete with. Every time you fell, you learned to get up faster, smarter, and stronger. Each failure wasn't an ending, it was a lesson. Over time, those lessons became your map, guiding you toward a victory they couldn't even imagine. What makes your success so extraordinary isn't just that you overcame the struggle, it's that the struggle built you. The very things they would have avoided at all costs, the rejection, the loneliness, the uncertainty, became the foundation of your strength. You learned to navigate storms they've never even seen, and that's why their playbook doesn't work against you. They expected you to crumble under the weight of it all, but instead you learned to carry it with grace. Now that you're winning, they might call you lucky or an overnight success, but you know the truth. Every battle you fought, every moment you questioned yourself was part of the plan. Your struggle wasn't a setback, it was your training ground. And now you're here, thriving, while they're still trying to figure out how you did it. Number 3, the underdog status was your superpower. Being the underdog was never a disadvantage, it was your superpower. While they basked in their privileges and bragged about their head starts, you were building something they didn't even know existed: grit. They assumed their advantages would keep you in the shadows, but what they didn't count on was your ability to thrive in places they wouldn't dare step into. You weren't just surviving, you were mastering skills, endurance, and a hunger that can't be taught. They didn't think to watch you closely because in their minds you didn't matter. They didn't see you as competition. That arrogance gave you the freedom to work without the pressure of their scrutiny. While they wasted time trying to impress each other, you stayed focused. And the irony? That focus is what has now put you leagues ahead of them. You didn't need applause, recognition, or a head start. You just needed to stay in the game, knowing that every small win was sharpening you for something much bigger. Your strength didn't come from shortcuts or easy wins. It came from being overlooked. Every doubt they cast on you, every time they dismissed you, became fuel. And because of that, you didn't just rise. You rose with an edge they don't have. They've never been in the trenches, never had to fight for every inch. They don't know what it's like to be hungry, to push forward when the odds are against you. But you do. Now they're scrambling, confused about how you came out on top. They didn't realize that by underestimating you, they gave you the most valuable thing of all, the chance to build in silence with no one standing in your way. That's why you're here now, winning in ways they never prepared for. Number 4, they expected you to follow the rules. They expected you to follow the rules, to stay in line, and to play the game exactly the way they designed it. The system was stacked in their favor, with barriers meant to keep people like you out. It was never built for your success, it was built to keep you in your place. But what they didn't anticipate was your ability to break their rules without even trying. You didn't just survive their system, you outsmarted it. They wanted you to believe that there was only one path to success, theirs. Follow the steps, obey the unspoken rules, and maybe, just maybe, you'd be granted a small win. But you didn't play by their rules because you knew something they didn't. Their system wasn't the only way. You found your own route, ignored their gatekeeping, and rewrote the playbook. While they clung to tradition and predictability, you were busy innovating, pushing boundaries they didn't even realize existed. Your success is more than just talent or strategy. It's a rebellion. Every win you achieve is a quiet act of defiance against the constraints they assumed would hold you back. They relied on the rules to control you, but they failed to understand that rules don't work on someone who doesn't recognize their authority. You didn't just break the mold, you shattered it. Now they're left scrambling, trying to figure out how you bypassed the system they swore was impenetrable. The truth is, they underestimated your ability to think differently, to question the norm, and to carve out a space that was never meant for you. Your success isn't just a victory. It's proof that the rules they built don't define you. You've shown them that the system only works if you let it, and you never did. Number 5, they built a legacy, but you are building a revolution. They believed their legacy was untouchable, a monument that would stand unchallenged for generations. They worked tirelessly to build something they thought was permanent, a structure so rigid and rooted that no one could alter it. But what they didn't realize is that you aren't interested in inheriting their legacy. You're not here to preserve what they built. You're here to dismantle it and rebuild something entirely your own. While they clung to tradition, you saw its cracks. Their legacy was never designed to evolve. It was static, locked in outdated ideas and narrow definitions of success. They assumed you'd walk the same path they did, follow the rules they wrote, and aspire to the same goals they glorified. But you didn't. You chose to step off their path entirely. Instead of trying to fit into their framework, you tore it down and started building something bigger, bolder, and freer than they ever imagined. Your revolution isn't about erasing what they accomplished. It's about creating a future that challenges its limits. Their legacy may have been solid, but it was never flexible. And that's why it will never survive in the world you're creating. You're reshaping everything, the way things are done, the way success is defined, and the opportunities available to those who come after you. They see this change and struggle to understand it. They thought they were creating permanence, but permanence isn't progress. You're not here to uphold their traditions, you're here to break them. Their legacy was built to last, but your revolution is built to transform. And transformation always wins, because while they were focused on the past, you've been building the future. They'll remember their legacy, but history will remember your revolution. Number 6, you were born to disrupt, not conform. They thought you'd fall in line, play the game by their rules, and aim for the goals they deemed acceptable. They expected you to crave their approval, to measure your worth by their standards, and to climb the same predictable ladder they built for themselves. But that's not who you are. You were never here to conform. You were born to disrupt. Their system was designed to reward sameness, to celebrate those who followed their path without question. But you saw through it. You realized that the ladder they built wasn't going up. It was just going in circles, trapping anyone who dared to play along. So instead of climbing it, you broke it apart and built your own. Your success is not just about reaching the top, it's about reshaping the entire game. You've shown them that their way isn't the only way, that the limits they set were nothing more than illusions. What they called impossible, you've turned into your playground. You've taken risks they never even considered, pushed boundaries they didn't know existed, and created opportunities where they thought none could be found. This isn't rebellion for rebellion's sake, it's transformation. You weren't born to fit into their mold, you were born to challenge it, to stretch it, to prove that success isn't a one-size-fits-all formula. You're not just defying expectations, you're rewriting them. Now they're left grappling with a reality they never prepared for. You've not only disrupted the status quo, you've redefined it entirely, and the best part, you didn't need their permission to do it. What they thought was impossible is now your playground, and they're struggling to catch up to a world you've already outgrown. Number 7. They didn't see the quiet power you were cultivating. They missed it entirely. While they were busy making noise, chasing attention, and trying to outshine one another, you were moving in silence. You didn't need to broadcast your every step or seek validation for your plans. They mistook your quiet for inaction, your calm for passivity. What they failed to see was the quiet power you were cultivating all along, steady, deliberate, and unstoppable. Your victories didn't need an audience. Each decision you made, each move you planned, was part of a strategy too subtle for them to notice. They were looking for fireworks while you were building a foundation. You didn't need to shout, because the strength you were developing didn't require applause. It was forged in focus, discipline, and resilience, away from the spotlight they so desperately craved. Now that silence speaks louder than their noise. The results of your quiet power are impossible to ignore. While they were distracted by the clamor of their own egos, you were preparing to redefine the game entirely. They didn't realize that the loudest person in the room isn't always the one in control. You didn't just match their energy, you surpassed it without even trying to compete on their terms. Their shock isn't just about your success, it's about how you achieved it. They thought power came from attention, but you've shown them a deeper truth. Real power doesn't need to announce itself, it builds quietly and relentlessly until it's undeniable. Now, as they scramble to figure out how they missed you, you stand tall. Your silence a testament to everything they underestimated. While their noise fades, your quiet power continues to grow, and it's louder than anything they've ever heard. Number 8, you turned every no into a yes. Every no was supposed to stop you. That's how they designed it. The gatekeepers smirked, thinking their rejection was the final word. They expected you to walk away, defeated and discouraged. What they didn't expect was for every denial to ignite something inside you, a determination so fierce it turned every closed door into a new opportunity. The world told you no over and over again. No, you're not enough. No, this isn't for you. No, you don't belong here. But instead of letting those words define you, you turned them into fuel. Each rejection wasn't the end of your story, it was the beginning of a new one. The no's forced you to think creatively, to find cracks in the walls they built, to carve out paths they didn't even know existed. The truth is, rejection taught you how to win. It made you resilient, adaptable, and fearless. While they stayed within the safe confines of their comfort zones, you became an expert at thriving in the unknown. Every closed door taught you something new: how to persevere, how to pivot, and how to believe in yourself when no one else did. Now they're stunned. The same people who laughed at you are scrambling to understand how you've risen so high. They never realized that their no's were sharpening you, making you unstoppable. What they saw as obstacles, you saw as stepping stones. Their doubt became your advantage, their rejections your roadmap to success. You didn't just turn no into yes, you turned it into more. More opportunities, more growth, more success than they ever thought possible. And now every yes you hear is a reminder of the power you've built from the very thing they thought would break you. Number 9. You don't need validation, you need results. You never needed validation. While others chased approval, clung to applause, and craved recognition, you kept your eyes on the only thing that truly matters: results. You understood early on that the cheers of others wouldn't build your future. Clapping fades, opinions change, and approval is fickle. But results, they speak for themselves. While they spent their time seeking attention and proving themselves to people who didn't matter, you put in the work. You didn't need a crowd to tell you that you were doing the right thing. Your focus wasn't on being seen, it was on building something that couldn't be ignored. And that's exactly what you've done. Now, as you win, they're left scrambling. They thought the applause was supposed to be theirs. They thought their need for validation made them important, but they missed the bigger picture. While they were busy performing for approval, you were building, grinding, and growing in silence. And now the results are loud enough to drown out any doubt. Your success isn't a product of being liked. It's a product of being relentless. You didn't ask for permission, and you didn't wait for someone to validate your efforts. You just kept going, knowing the results would prove everything they needed to. Now, the same people who overlooked you are wondering how they missed the signs. The irony? They're still chasing applause while you're creating legacies. They're still trying to be noticed while your work is impossible to ignore. Validation is temporary, but results, they're undeniable. And as you continue to win, you're proving that you never needed anyone's approval to succeed. You just needed to believe in yourself and let the results do the talking. Number 10. They never understood your vision. They never understood your vision because they were too focused on the surface, the things they could see, touch, and measure with their limited, outdated metrics. To them, success was something that could be quantified, something that fit neatly into the boxes they had created. But your vision was never about fitting in. It was never about following a formula or meeting anyone else's standards. It was bigger than their comprehension, broader than their limited perspective could ever grasp. They saw the steps you were taking and thought they knew where you were headed, but they missed the bigger picture. They didn't realize that you weren't just playing the game. They were still stuck on the rules while you were busy rewriting them. What they thought was impossible, you saw as inevitable. They couldn't see the entire landscape because they only looked through a narrow lens. But you saw the horizon, the bigger opportunity, the path that was hidden from their view. And now, as your vision unfolds, it's undeniable. What they dismissed as impractical, you've turned into reality. What they couldn't imagine, you've made possible. They couldn't measure it, so they overlooked it. But now their disbelief is irrelevant. What they couldn't understand is becoming your greatest triumph. Your vision wasn't meant to fit within their boundaries. And now it's clear why. It's because you're destined for something far beyond their limited ideas of success. They couldn't see it then, but they sure see it now. And as they watch it unfold, they're left wondering how they ever missed what was right in front of them. Because your vision wasn't just ahead of its time. It was beyond their understanding. Number 11. You turned your unique flaw into a game changer. What they called your weakness, you saw as your secret weapon. They were quick to point out what they thought was a flaw, something that made you different in ways they couldn't understand. They thought it would hold you back, keep you from succeeding in the way they expected, but instead, you recognized it for what it really was, your unique advantage. While they tried to fit you into a mold, convinced you should be like everyone else, you realized that the very thing they deemed imperfect was the key to your success. What they saw as a shortcoming, you turned into a game changer. Whether it was a trait they considered awkward, unconventional, or even inconvenient, you knew it was what set you apart. It became your signature trait, something no one else could replicate, something that gave you a distinct edge over the competition. They didn't see it because they were too focused on conformity, too obsessed with fitting into a predefined idea of success. But you knew that the true path to greatness wasn't about blending in. It was about embracing what makes you different. The very trait they thought would hold you back became the thing that powered you forward. Now, as you continue to rise, they're left wondering how something they dismissed as a flaw turned into your greatest strength. Your difference is no longer a weakness, it's your greatest asset. And what they couldn't see, you've turned into the driving force that sets you apart from everyone else. That thing they thought would stop you, it's the reason you're winning. Number 12, you've played the long game. They didn't even realize there was one. While they celebrated their quick wins and immediate gratification, you were quietly laying the groundwork for something much bigger. They thought success was about fast moves and rapid results, chasing the next shiny opportunity without considering the long-term impact. But you knew better. You understood that real success wasn't about racing to the finish line. It was about playing the long game. You didn't need instant victories because you had a vision that required patience, strategy, and time to develop. Every decision you made, every step you took was part of a plan that didn't rely on immediate results. You focused on building a solid foundation, making thoughtful moves that would pay off in the future. While they were busy sprinting, you were setting yourself up for a marathon. They couldn't see it at the time because they were too focused on short-term gains. But now, as your strategy unfolds and the results speak for themselves, they're left trying to figure out how you managed to get so far ahead. What they didn't understand is that the real winners don't rush the process. They're not chasing temporary success, they're building legacies. While they were focused on quick wins, you were investing in long-term growth, knowing that real impact takes time to materialize. And now, as you reap the rewards of your patience and foresight, they're scrambling to keep up, wondering how you pulled it off. You've proven something they couldn't grasp. Success isn't just about what happens in the moment. It's about what you set into motion for the future. They may have thought they had the upper hand with their rapid victories, but you knew all along that the real advantage comes from playing the long game. And now, you're reaping the rewards they never saw coming. In the end, the world never saw you coming. They underestimated you, laughed at your audacity, and dismissed your quiet determination. They built a system, a set of rules, and a vision they assumed would keep you in check. But while they were busy counting on their advantages, you were building a legacy they couldn't comprehend, a revolution that redefined success on your terms. Every no became a stepping stone, every flaw a unique strength, and every rejection just another fuel for your fire. You didn't need their validation, you didn't need their approval. What you needed was results, and those results now speak volumes. You've shown them that success doesn't come from following their path or fitting into their boxes. It comes from knowing who you are, embracing your vision, and refusing to conform to the limits they've imposed. As they scramble to understand how you've risen so far beyond them, you stand strong in your truth, having turned every obstacle into an opportunity. You were never here to play by their rules. You were here to rewrite them. And now, as you look ahead, your future is yours to shape, unstoppable and unprecedented. They didn't expect it. But here you are, winning, because you always knew the game was yours to change. If you're ready to break the rules, shatter expectations, and build a future that's truly your own, then this is the place for you. Don't just stand on the sidelines. Join the revolution. Subscribe now to stay ahead, to keep evolving, and to get the tools you need to rewrite your own story. This isn't just about following trends, it's about setting them. So hit that subscribe button and be part of something bigger, because the best is yet to come, and you won't want to miss it. Stay blessed.